You may have seen in a recent video where I talked about my recording setup that I use an exterior mic on my kick drum in addition to the inside mic. That plays an important role in achieving maximum low end and fullness from the drum, and it provides versatile mixing options. You'd be surprised though at how simple this actually is. For less than $100, you can drastically change your kick sound for the better as well. Let's take a look at this. Hey everybody, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer, the channel all about teaching you the practical drumming skills that will really help you to become a better drummer. If you're new to the channel, I hope you'll subscribe. So here's the mic that I'm talking about that you probably saw shots of in the previous video about recording my kit on a minimal budget. There's nothing fancy about this mic, it's just a very basic cheap ribbon mic that gets the job done, but it works great as an exterior kick mic. Here's why it works. You can try this at home. Have a friend sit down and play your kick drum, and then go like sit on the floor in front of it or put your arm out in front of the kick drum, and you'll feel that sound pressure, like the air rush hitting your hand from the drum heads moving. It's really a lot of power, a lot of energy from the kick drum. There's a lot of low end from a kick drum that develops out in front of the drum. Yeah, you can get a good bit of that low end from a mic inside the kick, but you can get even more of that low end and even a different kind of low end from outside the drum. The interesting thing too is that when you have an exterior mic that's outside of the drum, you pick up a lot less attack from the beater. And so if you want a more mellow sound, if you're playing like a brush ballad, then you might not even want to use the interior mic at all. Just use that exterior mic, which picks up much less beater attack. But it's cool having that kind of sound as well as the one with more attack so that you can mix those together and really find a sound that works for what you're doing. So let's listen to the sound test, and then we'll wrap up by giving you some additional really important tips that you'll need to know if you decide to try this on your own. Okay, additional important tips. Don't put the ribbon mic too close to the resonant head of the kick drum. Ribbon mics are kind of fragile. The new ones aren't as fragile as the old ones were back in the day. Like there were some really expensive old ribbon mics you can still buy, and you really have to be careful with them. But ribbon mics aren't built to handle a high sound pressure level, and so you really want to distance it a little bit from the kick, just so there's not a lot of that air impact hitting the mic. Now, how far away from the kick do you put it? Well, that depends a lot on the size of the drum, how you've got it tuned. One suggestion that an engineer told me was, going back to what we were talking about a minute ago, have a friend sit down and play your kick, and then go sit out in front of it or put your arm in front of it and move your hand away until you no longer feel that air wave hitting. And once you get to that point, that's where you should put the mic, and you really shouldn't go any closer than that. Also at that point, that's where the low end has fully developed out in front of the drum, so really you'll get a better tone that way. I've heard other engineers say just to experiment with it. It really does depend on the size of the drum and how you have it tuned. And so both of those pieces of advice are good and true. And I'm not really highlighting the whole topic of kick drum muffling in this video, but I do have just like a small beach towel sitting in there. So for the most part, this drum is pretty wide open. It's got the Evans EMAD head on it, and so there is that foam ring, so that muffles it a little bit and kind of keeps the overtones under control. But as far as like actual muffling on the inside, there's not much. Beater type is also an interesting topic, and I think that's something I'll save for another video, so let me know in the comments below if that's something you're interested in also. I think it'd be kind of interesting to do a different comparison of plastic versus felt versus soft versus whatever else I can find, just to see how that affects our low end result and how that affects the sound that the exterior mic's picking up. If you're looking to improve your kick drum sound, give this method a try. It won't cost you much at all because you don't need a fancy mic to do this. Sometimes it's the little things that can drastically alter a drum sound for the better. I'm all about having options, and a second mic allows for just that.